What's up, Digidestins? This is Coyote, better known as RideMyAvatar, and guess what day it is? We're going to be talking about Japanese Tuesday on a Thursday. It sometimes happens, especially when my weeks get busy, especially since I'm wrapping up a 6 months commitment to learning project management, so this should be the last week I'm on it, and tomorrow is supposed to be my last day on that. So I should have my certification in project management through Coursera. So I'm excited for that. But without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. Let's talk about all the goodies here. First off, Imperial Dramon Green Blue has pulled ahead, bringing it to 14. Armor's at 13. There's not much of a gap. There's only like a one deck win here. That's not terrible. The big problem comes down to is once we start getting into it, these are all current decks that have been topping for a while, have existed. Shine Greymon just got 2 new cards, really doesn't really change anything. Fenrir's always been kind of topping for a while, hasn't really made the top 4 in a bit. We also have like Numemon, Yellow Vaccine, 7th Grade Demon Lords, Dex Daruga, Mirage, Red Hybrid, Diaboro, Leomon, all stuff that's kind of just been in the past. There are like certain decks like Gallantmon starting to pop up. At the end of the day, I feel like we're not seeing as much in the way of BT-17. I mean, we do have Fenrir. There was a Pulsemon in the back. We have Argo. We do have Bonds of Friendship and Agumon, kind of, stuff like that, like Ancient Garurumon. Well, is it Ancient Garurumon? Ancient Garurumon. There's a bunch of decks coming through. It's taking a little bit for BT-17 to really get its own footing, its own top tier deck. It looks like a lot of older decks that just got a new wave of support. BT-17 wasn't bad. Let's be honest, it was a support set at the end of the day. What I feel like there wasn't really anything new breathing into it. Like I said, you get like Pulsemon, Argaman, the Bonds decks with the promos. And then really you get like Red Hybrid that existed for a while. It's now changed up. There's plenty of stuff. Like Red Blue Omnimon is starting to pop up a little bit more as people are trying to get their legs with it. But we should see some definite changes. Right now from last week, a 7 increase, a 4 increase, and then a 3 increase Shine Greymon. There's nothing wrong with supporting older decks. Makes them more current and just more fun to see around. We're just going to see a little bit of stuff like that. I want to talk about is the decks themselves. First off, we're going to talk about Diaboromon. Diaboromon is surprisingly not doing as hot as it wants to, and that I think it comes down to is the existence of aces are a little bit too extreme for it, and I don't know why they do this. Oh, the spice. I mean, either you're playing a memory blocker here or some sort of blocker proceeds to play Memamon, then this is probably Cyclone. I don't flip these cards over. Just show everybody what you got going. There's nothing too spicy in deck building mostly nowadays. I mean, the Cyclone was pretty cool to see a format and a half ago. I mean, we're looking at Diaboromon's aces and all that good stuff. Another Diaboromon variant that is playing the Clock of the End, which is pretty decent to see. I mean, taking a look at it, there's some key features that you kind of see between all of them, and that is that they do play EX6 Diaboromon between them because it's the more powerful one of the two. There was a list playing the new Armageddon, deleting up to 15 play costs worth of your opponent's Digimon, and then your turn when the Digimon attacks an opponent's Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon. Opponent attacks an opponent, and then it unsuspends itself. That's not a bad thing. It's multi-attacking, and then when this card, it would be played from hand by returning up to 13 cards with unidentified traits or Diaboromon traits from your trash to the bottom of the deck. For each card returned, reduce the play cost by 1. The problem I have with Armageddonmon is that an Imperial Dramon Paladin mode really shuts down the deck for this course of a thought process, because hard playing him is what you want to do. Unless you're not seeing Imperial Dramon Paladin mode, the likelihood of you having this, if they play it, is high. The fact that the Paladin mode exists, it kind of shuts this off. We a lot of players have switched just back to Armageddon just to shut off any wind digivolving effects. That's pretty solid, especially Blast Ace that want to do level 7 shenanigans. I like that they are playing the new BT-17 Infirmon, just because when Digivolve and Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then one of their Digimon with a play cost 8 or less cannot attack a player until the end of turn, and then all turn, when one of your other Digimon with Diabormon's name is played, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. It's not a bad deal to be able to Digivolve your opponent's Digimon, especially since we do have the Blast Ace version. That is going to help us out a lot. And, you know, you have this Infirmon that, you know, deletes, you may Digivolve into a Diabormon from your hand without paying its cost, produces more Diabormon tokens. I like the Karamons for its on deletions. They're very useful to produce tokens as well. Then opponent's turns, when an opponent's Digimon is played or Digivolve, if that Digimon is level 5 higher, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Firmon in your hand, ignoring its Digivolution requirements and without paying its cost. Being able to warp into, let's say, this Infirmon really does help out. You know, you have like this Karamon that's on play, reveal the top 3 cards, add a Tamer, an option with Diabormon as text, and then 1 card with unidentified traits among them to your hand. And then you know what Clock of the End is. It's a win con. Not many people are actually playing it as a win con. They're using it as a protection skill. And that's really what Clock of the End is kind of there for. Just produce a token and then make a protection skill. Don't overly focus on the Clock of the End, I think is very vital. Then we do have Agu Rush. I like that the way they went with the deck is quite interesting to me. I think it's kind of cute to see where they were going. I think you have a lot of potential. You have a lot of uniqueness going on for it, especially because of the bonds and because of the secret Greymon. You can basically go back into your Agumon again and then go into a bonds afterwards if you needed to, because that is pretty cool. At the end of the day, it's really interesting to see how decks are evolving and kind of starting to develop. I think this deck has a lot of potential, and any Agumon fan that just wants to go into Greymon, back to Agumon to Agubana Bravery Ace, has a lot of potential there. I love the Skull Greymon text from BT-14. This one's on deletion. You may play 1 Agumon from your trash without paying its cost. If you have a Tamer with Tai Kami in his name, that Digimon gains Rush for the turn. And then when Digivolving, by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest level and one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest. Delete one of your Digimon with the lowest level and one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Not bad. Skull Greymon being able to self-pop itself if you needed to, just to get another Agu in. Not a bad trade-off, especially if you swung in earlier and you got it in. This is also, on deletion, you may play a Tamer with Tai Kami or Kari in its name from your hand without paying its cost, or hatch in your breeding area. That means a lot of things here. The fact that this Digimon has all names of level 3 or lower cards in its Digivolution cards. I love the movie reference because you know they said like Koromon the whole time until he got to Greymon and he says, "I'm Greymon now." You know, the English dub there. At the end of the day, I love that it's a movie reference in itself. On deletion, you may play 1 Tamer with Tai Kamiya or Kari in its name from hand without paying its or hatch in your breeding area. And then if this Digimon has Koromon in its name, it gets plus 3000 DP, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon as much or less than DP as this Digimon. It's not a bad trade-off. Like, there's a lot of potential here, especially with the Tai helping you gain momentum. Tai, Kamiya, and Kari, you know, the adorable kids here. When you hatch in your breeding area by spending this Tamer, gain a memory, and then end of turn by returning this Tamer to the bottom of your deck, draw a card, then you may play 1 Tamer with Tai or Kari in its name from your hand without paying its cost. It's not a bad trade-off. That draw is a value. The fact that you have access to Louis here just to help get your Digimon out of breeding area really does matter. The deck kind of just synergizes really well with each other and applies an aggressive style of play. And it doesn't play Ukamon, which is pretty good to see. I want to see more decks that don't rely on seeing Ukamon. Yes, it's a great card, don't get me wrong. I want to see decks thrive and create without it. I think it's because it feels like it's mandatory in some cases. I like seeing decks that don't mandatorize it. On play, when Digivolving, delete any number of opponent's Digimon whose total DP adds up to equal or less than this Digimon's DP. When attacking, if you have a Tamer, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. That's really helpful because you can make this Greymon really big and beefy, and you can pop anything. I like that we also have access to the security attack +1 for the Bond of Bravery, which you basically build up a bunch of them, and then you can go crazy ham on that. because you can do this Greymon shenanigans and just keep evolving the Argaman on top of it, acting like a, pseudo Koromon. That just becomes a lot of fun just to see how the interaction goes. Then we have Argaman here. Argamon's just being fun. I love to see decks like this, and especially this is why I showcase a lot of them. And Argamon's got a lot of new support. This, I'm going to be straight honest with you, nothing too crazy here. They're using like Palmon and Togemon to help, make some value, especially when you can suspend your opponent's Digimon. And then you have like Togemon who will help play your Tamers for reduced costs, which isn't terrible at all. I like that they went with the Truby Ace tech because at least having one ace in this format really does matter in some circumstances. Truby Ace is really powerful because of how Argo usually plays in a certain circumstance. They are a wider board state. Truby can take advantage of that very easily. They have like cards like the new promo Mega Kabuterimon. While this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effect of your opponent's Digimon. Then all turns when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon by battle, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, putting some aggro into it. Well, some way of dealing with option-heavy formats. This is what the card you can't really see is. Taking a look at it, though, Argamon's pretty cool. When digivolving into this card by suspending up to 5 Tamers, for each Tamer suspended by this effect, reduce the devolution cost by 1. And then opponent's turn, none of your opponent's Tamers can unsuspend. And then on deletion, if you have 4 or more Argamons in trash, you may play 1 level 6 Argamon from your hand without paying its cost. And then when attacking by suspending one of your rhythms, unsuspend this Digimon. And then Rhythm is kind of interesting. When an effect suspends one of your Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer. When this Tamer becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. Then if you have Argamon or a yellow Digimon with Agumon or a Greymon on its name, draw a card. So this gives you just some decent draw advantage, which is what you want to kind of see. The movie Argaman was quite interesting. When digivolving, if you don't have a rhythm, you may play a rhythm from your hand without paying its cost. Argo is going to be searching for a rhythm and an Argo, and then return the rest to the bottom. Then you have like opponent's turn while this Digimon is Argo against blocker, making a beefy boy. I love how this deck plays though. On play, when digivolving, you may place up to 4 level 5 or lower Argamon from your trash as is this bottom Digivolution. Then delete up to 4 total. Delete up to 4 level 4 totals worth of your opponent's Digimon. Then for every 2 Argamon in its Digivolution, add 1 maximum total to the effect it can choose. Then all turns for every 2 Argo in its Digivolutions, gain 1000 DP. Opponent's turn, none of your opponent's Tamers can unsuspend. Being able to lock down your opponent's stuff is really good, especially because a lot of Tamers do want to be suspended. There are a few decks that aren't caring about that as much, and that are the Bond decks. Let's get into Omnimon. Omnimon really is starting to show some movement, and people are starting to get used to it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely focusing on the red shenanigans. Having the new tie and mat when one of your Digimon is played or Digivolves by suspending this Tamer. If you have a Digimon with Greymon on its name, gain 1 memory. If you have a Digimon with Garurumon on its name, gain a memory. Really useful. And then end of turn, once per turn, one of your Digimon with Omnimon on its name may attack a player. That is really solid just to be able to get in with the Omnimon Ace. Then you have like Tai Kamiya that's going to help when you promote your Agu up or Greymon. Then you have Miraculous Ultimate Knight. This is one of those cards that are like a trap. When your level 6 Digimon with Greymon in his name would be leaving the battle other than by battle, delay. If you have effects that are going to pop, it gets really scary. This thing being able to play an Agu or Gabumon from your hand or trash without paying its cost and then place it in the battle area. And this thing, that Digimon and a Digimon in your hand may need a Digivolve into Omnimon in its name. Really does matter in some circumstances, and that can lead to giving it another protection. And it just matters because this Omnimon is really good. On play, when Digivolving, if you DNA, choose one of your opponent's Digimon, return that Digimon and all of their Digimon with the same level to the bottom of the deck. Then delete one of their Digimon. Really nasty being able to remove protected Digimon outside of circumstances. If it's just protected by deleting, you can just spin back. It just gets ridiculous. Then you have like Paladin mode Ace that just clears boards by itself. Well, clears the trash and then clears a threat. It's pretty decent. I mean, being able to remove your opponent's trash is huge. Then you have like Agumon Bond of Bravery, and then you have Gabumon Bond of Friendship. All great cards to combo in with the Gabu and the Agu. Greymon's here to do your shenanigans. Gabumon, if you have a mat, start a main phase, draw a card. Then if you have an Agu, if you have a Tai Kamiya, return one Garurumon, Greymon, or Omnimon in its name from trash to hand. Well, they both actually help each other out in a lot of ways. Then you have like end of turn, this Digimon and one of your other Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card in your hand. You know, you have Metal Garurumon being on play when Digivolving, activate one of the effects below. One of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers cannot suspend until the end of turn. And then one of your Argaman may Digivolve into War Greymon in hand, ignoring Digievolution requirements and without paying its cost. This allows basically the warping shenanigans that this deck wants to do. And when this Digimon would be played, if you have a Tamer with Matt Ishida in his name, reduce the cost by 3. And you have like War Greymon, same as well. You know, reduce the play cost by 3. On play, when Digivolving, activate one of the effects below. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. One of your Gabumon may Digivolve into Metal Garurumon in hand, ignoring Digievolution requirements without paying its cost. Just a really powerful skill, especially when attacking. If this Digimon has Omnimon in its name, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And this one is just when this Digimon has Omnimon in its name, unsuspend this Digimon. This gets crazy a little quickly, and it's kind of cool to see the ingenuity of some of these newer decks. Then we do have Pulsemon. I wanted to talk about Pulsemon. What's really cool about Pulsemon is that it kind of plays the Kazuchimon and Fenry Luga. They both want to combo in. You want to focus on getting Kazuchi because then you're going to hard play the Fenry Luga just to go from being able to... What do you want to do here? You want to be able to get into Fenry Luga Takamazuchi. But what you're going to do here is pretty simple. Using like cards like Hacker's Pride, you can go into Kazuchimon with just normally into with the Fenry, and then basically use Hacker's Pride to put it back on your security check top, and then use Blinding Ray to trash it, gain the memory, and then hard play Fenry Luga to get it to DNA Digivolve, do all shenanigans, and get some more attacks in. The Climbon is to make sure that if for whatever reason your only Mega is Fenry Luga, you have an option to get into it. And then you'll just hard play the Kazuchimon and then do for the combo there. There are plenty of ways to getting into it. But what's really nice is like Boutmon here. When this Digimon would leave the battle area by trashing the top card of security stack, prevent it from leaving. All turns, when an effect trashes a card from your security stack, this Digimon with Leon Xander, this Digivolution may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Pulsemon in its text from your hand without paying its cost. This would combo in Blinding Ray for free, getting into Kazuchimon, and then you can get the attacks in that way. And it's really cool to see like the ingenuity of this deck, and I really like playing it. It was a lot of fun. I think it does need a little more tweaking, and then we'll have the right ratios. All in all, though, looking solid. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.